Hello and welcome to the ISRK Podcast. I'm your host, Marvikrant. I'm a doctoral candidate at the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, Hanyang University, Seoul, Korea. ISRK, that is Indian Students and Researchers in Korea, is a voluntary support group that works towards the benefit of the Indian diaspora in Korea. So on today's episode, I have the pleasure to be in conversation with Dr. Bhivraj Suthar, who is a postdoctoral researcher at the Chungnam National University, Korea. So Dr. Suthar, thank you very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Vikrant, for inviting me in
Mhm.
ISRK Research and Education Group,
Yes.
and I really appreciate this initiative
Mhm.
which taken by the community, Indian community, and you are
Right.
contributing so nicely.
Well, thank you very much for your kind appreciation. And to begin our conversation, I would like to know your reasons behind coming to Korea for your postdoctoral research. Because, back home in India, when we think about international research or global education, people usually think about going to the US or maybe Europe. So, what were your reasons behind coming to Korea? Can you briefly explain us?
Yeah, actually, Korea is really good in funding,
Mm,
and they are providing a really good research facility.
right.
So if you are very keen to do
Mhm.
research, you can buy whatever you wanna. Just
Yes.
go and tell to the professor,
Yeah.
I want this, you can buy.
That's right.
Yeah, and here the research environment in the
Mhm,
lab is really good.
mhm.
So generally people, go other countries like
Mhm, mhm.
USA,
Right.
UK, and other developing countries. But here, if I compare between Korea and other countries,
Mhm.
I felt the barrier is the language,
Mm.
the
Yeah.
Korean language, because here everything is in Korean
Mm.
except your research paper.
Yes, that's
So
right.
even if they they make some notice, so they
Mhm.
will write in Korean. Even for
Mm.
foreigners, they cannot read,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they do. So that you
Right.
have to be careful about that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I also wanted to know from you. Like, how has your experience been like living in Korea, given the cultural and language differences? Like, when you first arrived from India to Korea, how did you feel and how did you cope up with the sudden changes? Maybe the work atmosphere the type of work atmosphere is different and also the culture is different. So, how did you cope up with that? And how severe is the language barrier as you talked about right now?
Actually, this is you can say this is the core
Hmm.
core question to know the Korea.
Yes.
So actually, when I came to Korea in conference in 2014,
Okay.
it's sponsored by IIT Delhi and
Hmm.
the park over
Hmm.
Bhabha Atomic Research Center.
Right.
So we came here in some conference.
Mhm.
So when I saw first time when I landed,
So
on the airport,
you landed at Incheon, you came to Seoul first?
yeah,
Ah, okay.
I went to the the Incheon. When I
Hmm.
landed and when I came out, it was completely for me,
Yes,
well structured.
right, right.
Everything is everything is looking like new.
Hmm.
There is no dust,
Yes.
because in New Delhi we saw dust every day.
Oh,
You have to
yeah,
clean your stuff and all.
everywhere. Mm.
Yeah, so my impression, I mean, first impression was so nice. And
Mm.
I decided, okay, I think I should consider this country for
Right.
my higher education.
Hmm.
Then I stay for 2 days, then
Hmm.
went back. Then I applied in several
Okay.
universities.
Hmm.
So I selected for PhD in Korea Tech University,
Hmm.
that is in Cheonan.
Hmm.
And then I got the opportunity, in KAIST,
Right.
that is really, well-renowned university. It
Yeah,
has ranking of 41, US
41 right
ranking.
now. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sure. So you touched upon some important points that I also wanted to know from you and discuss. Like you have had the experience of studying in a top Indian university, which is IT Delhi. I think it's in top 200 now, right? Top 200 QS ranking.
Yeah, 185.
Right. So, and also, like you mentioned, you have worked at the KAIST as well, which is Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Tech, which is a top 50 QS ranked university. So you have had exposure to like world-class facilities both in India and in Korea. So can you contrast between the research atmosphere and temperament in these two universities? And perhaps if you can also touch upon the differences in the study atmosphere or how the teaching is imparted to the students? And can you contrast between the two? I know it may be too broad a subject, like to specifically specify
Yeah.
everything, but can you touch upon the salient features?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I did my master from IIT Delhi, and I
Sure.
also worked on a combined research project on IIT Delhi and Bhabha Atomic Research Center.
Mm,
That project
mhm,
was really so,
mm,
interesting for me.
right.
So if I will, compare the research facility and
Uh-huh.
the academic, teaching.
Mm,
So frankly speaking, over, the IIT system
mhm,
is really rich for academic teaching.
okay.
And but I can see we are only lacking behind
Mm,
funding issue. If we have a good funding, then we also can, we will be similar to the, Korea and other
mhm,
countries. And but I really appreciate in a limited funding,
right.
they produce, the world class leader
Mm,
or world class, company leader, just like CEOs from Google,
sure. Yeah.
from Master, Adobe.
Mhm,
So those things, how I can say, making proud
mhm.
us as an
Yeah,
Indian
yeah.
abroad.
Yeah,
And but
as
this
our
list,
Indian identity, we feel proud to see them doing good
yes,
on the global standard, right?
right. But I will really, suggest. I mean, how I can, I don't know, government what they are doing, but if
Mhm,
government they pump, the more money in
mhm,
research,
mhm, mhm.
especially, then
Right.
really we when we can contribute a
Mm.
lot of things in the especially in a research community and research areas.
Yeah. So good students and bright researchers are there back home in India, but perhaps they are lagging behind a bit because of some policy
Right.
decisions that maybe need to be implemented, or of
Right.
course other socioeconomic issues as well. Anyway, so moving ahead, I wanted to know what are the benefits of, like you touched upon this briefly, but I wanted to know, like what are the advantages of conducting a tech research in Korea? For example, Korea frequently ranks number one on the Bloomberg Innovation Index, and also there is a very strong industrial academia tie-up in Korea, as far as what I have observed. And also, Korea spends a lot, like you also mentioned, spends a lot, like more than 4% of its GDP on research and development. So, what are the advantages of specific advantages of doing tech research in Korea?
uh, Actually, in Korea,
Mhm.
as I mentioned, they had a huge funding.
Right.
So they are also able to provide, good salaries to the international
Mm,
student,
yeah.
international, cadets. So because we are, foreigners in,
Mhm.
and we are working away from our home. So
Sure. Yeah.
salary is very important for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
First,
Right.
second is the research facility.
Mm,
What kind of research facilities they are doing?
sure.
In my I mean in my point of view, I think Korea is providing both good
Mm,
salary, good research
mhm,
facility, and good research funding.
mm,
So I think those things they made me, okay, let's go for Korea.
sure. Okay. Thanks very much for your kind explanation and elaboration. And so I also wanted, like, I was very much intrigued by your research area involving robotics and mechatronics, right? So it sounds quite fascinating. So I wanted to know what got you into this research discipline, and how does this research area support the society at large through its output?
Actually, you are asking about, my life journey, frankly
Sure.
speaking.
Well, if you
So
can briefly elaborate on that, it will be very
sure.
helpful. I think many of our viewers will find this very interesting. So.
Yeah, true, actually
Mhm.
true. Actually, you can define my life journey from a robot artist
Mhm.
to roboticist.
Mm,
So when I was
yeah.
kid, so I love to play with, mechanical tools and engineering
Uh-huh.
tools. So I used to make the toys from the wood
Mhm.
at my with my father at
Oh, okay.
his carpentry shop.
Mm,
So I that thing, fascinating me
mhm,
to, move forward. And when I joined university, then I got more interest on it.
mhm.
And but when I was kid, I don't know how they are working, what the engineering behind it.
Right. Yeah.
But nowadays, after, getting all the technical degrees,
Yes.
technical degrees that
Uh-huh.
you have to take it. So
Right.
after getting those degrees, I'm enjoying even more.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my passion. So I carried out my passion to my profession.
Right.
So I will recommend, I mean, to the audience, I mean, follow your passion. I mean, just
Yes.
what you want to do it.
Sure. In my opinion as well, like when there is a marriage between your what you enjoy doing and what you actually do for a living, and when these two combine, then all sorts of miracles happen, and it's very beautiful.
Right, right,
So yeah,
right.
yeah, it's almost poetic. So anyway,
Yes, yes.
right, right. Also, I wanted to know, is this mechatronics and robotics related discipline like a very specialized research area, or does it combine aspects from different sides? Because when I was thinking, I thought that, okay, maybe it's involving mechanical engineering, certain aspects of electronics, and perhaps even computer science, right? Can you talk to us
Yeah, yeah.
briefly in the on the technical side a bit?
Sure, sure. Actually, the robotics is, the combination of all the branches.
Mm,
It is not limited to the computer science, mechanical,
right, right.
even it is also related to the, textile, chemistry,
Mm.
physics, everything.
Also, I think
Uh,
batteries are also involved, right? So
yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah, definitely.
encompasses chemical engineering
Robot
as
without cannot,
well.
work without
Yeah, yeah,
battery.
yeah. That's right.
That for sure.
Sure.
And recently, I'm actually working on
Mhm.
the exosuit. So
Exoskeletons.
actually, yeah, exoskeletons and exosuits. So those kind of, the stuff, they had mechanical structure, electronics,
Sure.
computer programming,
Mm-hmm.
and the current and the future of those kind of exosuits will be completely soft. So
Mm.
the textile will come in the picture.
Like it will be flexible, like
Yeah, just like over ordinary shoot, just like a shirt. Whenever you
sure.
wanna activate it, you can activate, and you can take the system from those devices.
Very
And it
fascinating.
has a huge application.
Mm.
We can assist the elderly people
Mm.
for walking, for doing daily life activities.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see lots of application even in industry, in
Mm.
manufacturing industry, because there are lots of issues with the workers. So I think that area and variable robotics area, it can change a lot
Mm.
in overcoming generation.
Just out of curiosity, do you guys get inspired by seeing the skeletal structures in nature and try to mimic that?
Uh, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but frankly speaking, we are from India, so
Right.
we saw those kind of stuff in our daily life. For example,
Mm.
Durga, it has multiple hand.
Mm. Yeah, that's
So
right.
similar concept we are trying to implement in robotics. For example, the supplementary robotics,
Right.
and no doubt in nature also. Nature,
Mm.
if you'll see the octopus,
Oh,
so it
yeah.
has multiple hand and like this. So you can make exosuit with a multiple hand, so you can do many stuff at the same time.
I all your explanations just got me thinking that even I think neurobiology and neurochemistry might be involved in this, right? Because how will you
Right,
control all those arms and everything?
exactly. So that's why I
Oh,
told robotics is not limited to
it's
some
very
structure.
fascinating.
It is
Yeah.
everything. If chemical guy wanna come and do contribute something,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, most welcome.
Sure. That's quite fascinating. So can you touch upon the project fundings and scholarships in your area? And also, what are because I suspect that this kind of like high-end robotics research might not be going on everywhere in the world. So there must be some hot spots in the world. So can you touch upon that? Because some of our viewers might be interested into entering this field. So through your explanations, they might be benefiting. So can you touch upon the project funding scholarships in your area and what are the hotspots around the globe for this kind of research?
Yeah, right. Okay. Let me start first with the the hot spots.
Hmm.
If we consider India, so
Right.
India need initially the low level robotics,
Mm.
because develop low level robotics and implement in the
Mm.
society. If I'll consider Korea, they need high level robotic
Okay.
systems and implement it. So I think depends upon the culture and depends upon the country. I cannot say this one is good and this
Mhm.
one is bad.
Right,
All
right.
are good
It
because
depends
all
on
they
the
are helping
application.
human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if I see the funding
Hmm.
in Korea, there is huge funding for
This kind of research.
high,
Yeah.
yeah, high robotics. And if you'll see, in India, so India is nowadays, investing a lot of money for,
Mm,
artificial intelligence and
right.
robotics.
Mm.
And, India is also famous, for IT in the world.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah, so I think IT is also a big part, of
mm,
the robotics and automation system.
mm. Yeah, because I think you have to code in the behavior and everything into the robot.
Yes, yes. And if you'll see, in Korea, Korea has a lot of funding from government,
Mhm.
just like for KGSP
Right.
and Brain Pool scholarship, and other, private companies also, they are contributing a lot. For example, the LG, Samsung, Hyundai, they
Mhm.
have their own scholarships. If you'll
Right,
Google it,
right.
you will find. And in India also, similar way, they are also doing. But we have a lot of population
Yeah.
if you'll compare. So it's very hard to get it, but here easy.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So that was, yeah, very interesting. And also, you have been a very vocal advocate of visualization in science, like using illustrations and that sort of stuff to describe your research. So, what is your take on the importance of such sketches and illustrations in scientific work? And would you recommend a young researcher or even seasoned researchers to take up this skill of learning how to illustrate using 3D models and sketches to describe their science? Can you talk about this?
Yeah, sure. Actually, before making the product, if
Mm-hmm.
you know how it is look like, how will be the cost, and
Mm,
how you will be going to manufacture,
right.
then you can moderate the process, cost, time, everything.
Mm,
So 3D software or 3D visualization is the technique. You
mhm.
can virtually realize how the robots is looks like. For
Right.
example, I am making complex robotics have
Yeah, yeah,
arm or whole structure.
yeah.
So if I will go directly without, seeing in the 3D directly to the manufacturing, I will, lost.
Mm-hmm.
I have to put a lot of money and time.
Right.
So the 3D software,
Mm-hmm.
you can enhance,
Mm,
the technical things in a robot as well as financially.
right.
So I will recommend, all the researchers, even not in, in robotics, even in,
Right, right.
for example, the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Chemistry, for example, chemistry, how molecules they are attacking on each other. If you can, make, 3D and then try attack
Mm-hmm.
and realize, okay, how it is going on. It is
Right.
really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Same way in robotics area, I am making, exosuit. Whenever I am making exosuit, sometimes I am feeling, oh, this link is so small. This is so
Mm-hmm.
large. Then I
Right.
have to design according to the human structure,
Right.
so that you can realize only in 3D software without manufacturing. There is no cost.
Right. And also, other than the practical utility of such softwares and sketches and illustrations, what I have found through my experience is that it's a very entertaining activity as well when you do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, right,
Yes.
right.
So, like once
And
you
for
get a,
me,
yeah, sure, sure,
yeah,
go
and
ahead.
for me, actually, this is more interesting, and this is my passion. So
Mm,
I always say, start your robot from scratch to the prototype.
mm,
So I also delivered, some talk on
mhm.
those kind of stuff. The
Sure.
robot from scratch to the, your real prototype.
Mhm,
So I really, recommend, your audience, you
mhm,
should realize what you are going to do, what
mhm.
are the advantage, and how
Right.
you can benefit to the society
Mhm.
as well in terms of financially.
Sure.
Design, of course, the visual software. So
Mhm.
software you can use like AutoCAD,
Yeah, I
Autodesk.
wanted to ask you what are your recommendations for such? Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of software I will recommend, the
Mhm.
Autodesk and the Inventor and
Mm,
Fusion 360.
right,
These are highly skilled software. Generally, the robotics guys and the mechanical design engineer, they are using.
right. And I think your research area must be involving 3D printing and other
Yes,
aspects as well, right?
right.
So 3D printing is also nowadays a big thing in research, and also nowadays it's finding practical application as well. So yeah. So
Yeah,
your
actually,
yeah your
when
field
I saw 3D,
covers
there is an
everything. So
interesting story.
yeah, okay.
actually when I was kid, so I was making, the structure and links manually by wood.
Okay.
So I have to give a lot of time and effort for,
Mhm.
making, but the design is not accurate and there
Yeah,
are
yeah,
another technical issue.
yeah.
But nowadays 3D printer,
Uh-huh.
oh,
Yeah, it's amazing.
they,
Mm.
yeah, it's amazing. And they will enhance
Mm-hmm.
your, the technical stuff
Right.
drastically and
Mm-hmm.
very accurately they manufactured. So
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
I'm thinking, oh my God, why, we need a lots of, the workers.
Yeah, yeah.
Those kind of 3D printer, they
That can be
do a lot of
automated very
job.
easily.
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
right. And accurately. The thing is
Right.
accurately.
Yeah, yeah. So, I think um, since all these new things are coming into like it's true for almost all disciplines, but in your area it seems like various things are coming into the research perspective, because for example we talked about AI and 3D printing and modeling and everything is coming into the area. So how does the researcher keep up with everything? Because I think you must have to learn everything quite rapidly, right, to keep up with the trend and also be on the cutting edge of research.
Yeah, true. Actually, frankly speaking, one human cannot learn everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, of
you
course.
have to be, specialized in one area. For
Mm.
example, my specialization is mechanism design and robotic
Okay.
structure design,
Okay.
not, artificial intelligence and all.
Mm-hmm.
But I am creating the structure. Then
Okay.
it's creating structure and control. Then I will hand over to the software guy. They will
Ah,
try to play with them.
so it's a collaborative effort.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the research work is collaborative work. One part you will make, another is another team, and then
Right.
combined it will be a great thing.
Mm. So how do you enjoy working with so many because I think you must have like several collaborations around the globe, right?
uh yes, and
Mhm.
actually I really pointed out one important thing,
Right.
previously I mentioned the language
Mm-hmm.
is a big issue
Right.
here, because I'm collaborating with, several research group.
Sure.
So sometime you will feel, some very critical things.
Mm.
There will be a communication gap between the two teams.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, here in Korea only the issue is the language, Korean language,
Mm.
because I had, I mean, similar experience. So that's
So
why I would like to share
mhm.
this.
Right. So what do you recommend young researchers or young students coming to Korea about the language? Like, should they begin learning Korean beforehand, or should they learn after coming here, or is it at all required to get a good proficiency in Korean, or managing with slight Korean with good English is enough? Or what is your take on that?
Actually, if anyone has, plan to
Mhm.
come to Korea,
Right.
so I will highly recommend, if whenever you are thinking, okay, I'm going to Korea, just think you have to learn Korean language
Mm.
to enjoy your stay in Korea
Right. Yeah.
and enjoy your research work also.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to face, some issues. Maybe people will criticize because
Mhm.
you are the top, you will lead the team. So
Sure.
that is your responsibility. So if anything going wrong, you will be the responsible.
Mhm.
So language is very critical role.
Yeah, you touched upon a very important point, I think, because many people do not understand that researchers and scientists are also very good managers,
Yeah, exactly.
because they manage a big team of research, and like you pointed out, like you have to work with people from various different backgrounds, various cultural mindsets, and different languages. So yeah, scientists need to be managers as well. So this is something that the student should also consider while pursuing higher education.
Yeah, actually, I believe that, when you finish your PhD or a
Mhm.
master,
Right.
you are already researcher.
Yeah,
You know
sure.
how to do research. There
Hmm.
is no, the barrier between your research and you.
Hmm.
So you can do, but only the research when you work in a group
Yeah.
and when you will work with various types of
Hmm.
cultural group,
Right.
then it make, some issue.
Hmm. Yeah. So that also highlights the global nature of our world today, like how globalized it is. Everything is interconnected. Everyone is working in almost, you can find person of a specific culture in almost all disciplines now in the world. So yeah.
Yes, right.
Mhm. Yeah. So also I wanted to ask you, like we talked about lots of scientific stuff and tech stuff. I also wanted to ask you, like, how is life for a family in Korea? For example, like many people come with their like spouses or children to Korea. So how is that life balanced between their professional life, and how is it like to bring up a family in Korea? If you can touch upon that.
Yeah, actually, okay, let me start with this one. I am pure vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
So living in Korea,
Oh.
even sometime it is more, difficult even doing
Mm,
research.
mm,
So because you cannot eat in ordinary Korean shop.
right.
But yeah, that is true. You can find the raw material from the ordinary shop, and then you have to cook every day.
Mm.
So here you are doing two things together: your research and cooking
Yes.
every day.
Right,
So
right.
thanks to this, I learned how to cook. So,
Nice.
but if you will consider, the children's and
Yeah.
the families member here, I think there is no English school
Mm,
here. He will not find. So for the married couple, it's I will not recommend this country
mhm,
for the future of their kids.
mm.
But in the beginning, yes, it's okay. You
Sure.
can come and you can enjoy. Only the English school you can find in Seoul, I think. Recently they
Yeah,
opened.
in Seoul there are some, but not that
Yeah,
many, but some.
yeah. But nowadays, the Korean government's also thinking how
Right, right.
to open more and more, the international culture.
Yeah, that's what I also observed. Like nowadays, several Koreans are also aware of the fact that nowadays everything is super international, and
Yeah,
Korea has come to the like forefront of the world now. So several foreigners or expats are also coming to Korea. So nowadays there is a growing focus on teaching younger generation English and everything like that. But still, the change is progressive, like step by step, I would say. Yeah.
exactly. Yes, right.
Right. So thank you very much for your time, Doctor. And it was very enlightening talking with you. And in particular, I am very much fascinated with your research area. So even I'm thinking of reading some of your work or maybe something related to your area to get more perspective on it, because I think I find it very fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, sure. It will be pleasure, and it
Mhm.
is really pleasure, talking to you and
Yeah, yeah.
sharing my experience. I
Hmm.
hope it will help to our, diaspora, Indian diaspora. It will help.
Right. I think because these kind of conversations are important so that young people or the young students and researchers who are coming to Korea get more of a like a interpersonal insight into what is going
Right.
on actually in. And there are actually, in Korea, from our Indian community, there are several people in various walks of life in Korea. Many people are in industry, in research, and even in research in various different disciplines. So for me, it is very interesting to interact with all of them and get to know small bit of their life. So yeah, I enjoy doing it
Yeah.
very much. So yeah.
So you
Anyway,
are
so
also enjoying Korea, right?
sure, yeah, I love living here. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so thank you very much for your time, Doctor, and hopefully we stay in touch, and maybe I can get you on the podcast sometime down the line as well.
Sure, sure, sure.
Mhm.
Thank you, and feel free to reaching me.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So thank you very much for your time. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Have a nice time.
Yes. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Uh, Tune in to the ISRK YouTube channel for more videos. I'll see you soon. Thank you.